morning. This is Mark's Musings, and I'm Mark, and we are here at the Wilmington, in Wilmington, Massachusetts, at the TV studios, WCTV.org, and we have a special guest today with us by the name of Cathy Macri, and she has written a wonderful book called Richie and Shelly at the Farm Festival, an Adventure in Healthy Eating. Good morning, Cathy.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you very much for having me today.
Well, I'm glad that you could make it. And again, we had a few technical difficulties, and we seem to be able to get over some of those, and we're ready to do some recording now. So I met Cathy at a author's fair in Tewksbury at the Tewksbury Library a couple of weeks ago, and it was a wonderful fair. We had quite a few authors there, and I asked Cathy if she'd like to come and do a podcast with us, and she said she would. So here we are. So tell me a little bit about the book, Cathy.
Well, the book is about healthy eating. Two children. I set it in a school because children are used to learning things in school. And what I did was I created a festival at the school where the local farmer comes with all his fruits and vegetables, and they set up stands out in the fields.
Oh, nice.
And the children get to meet the farmer, and he talks to them about the importance of eating healthy, fresh fruit and vegetables. And then they get to go around to each stand and taste the different fruit and vegetables. And then when they go back for lunch, they get soup prepared with all the farmer's fruits and vegetables. And I included a soup recipe in the back of the book.
I was reading it. It's wonderful. It looks great.
It's a vegetable soup recipe, and it requires lots of chopping. So I suggest that parents cook with their children.
Yes.
And use the opportunity to let them chop up all the vegetables in the soup and help them make the soup, because my personal experience has always been when the children cook with me, they're more interested in eating whatever it is that they've made.
They've seen the recipe from the book, and I said to my wife earlier that I said, gee, this sounds a little bit like your vegetable soup recipe or chicken soup recipe, but it's a little different because you have quite a lot more chopped vegetables in this one.
Right. Well, the point is to keep the children involved and keep them helping out, and chopping those vegetables and opening, putting in like some of it is canned vegetables like corn, although you could use fresh corn and cut it. But the whole point is keep them involved in helping to make that food.
Yes. Yeah, very. Sounds great, yeah. And so what age group does this book
Well,
refer
it could
to?
be anywhere from birth, because you read to children when they're young, up until about, I'd say, third grade. It's about a second, third grade reading level, the
Yes,
book, and but older children can also benefit by it because you can make the recipe with them as well.
Sure.
And it's just a cute little story. I mean, it's a children's book, so it's not long. It's the prescribed down pages, and the book itself is very bright, vibrant. The colors are deep and beautiful, and
Yes, I noticed
and it's
that.
really just very attractive for the kids to read, and they love seeing the farmer and the tractor and the children in the book. They really have a good time when they read it.
And you have the two main characters, Richie and Shelly.
Yep, Richie and Shelly. I've named them after my children.
Oh, great.
Now, my children are much older now.
Yes.
They have children of their own. So my son Richie, he's the older character, and then Shelly is actually my daughter Lauren. But Richie and Lauren, although that sounds great to me because I've been saying it for 40-something years,
Yes.
doesn't really flow as well as Shelly, and Michelle was her middle name.
Oh, yes.
So I
okay.
shortened Michelle to Shelly, and it became Richie and Shelly.
Are they related, or Richie and Shelly?
In the book, yes, they're brother and sister as well.
They're brother and sister. Okay, great. And so, are they in the same grade too, or
No, Richie's older, just like
Okay.
my son and daughter. Richie's
Okay.
the older one,
Yeah.
and when I hired the illustrator to do the books, I sent her pictures of my children when they were younger,
Yes.
and I asked her to draw similar children, and she did. And when she sent me the samples of the first Richie and Shelly, I was like, oh my God, I love these children. I want to know them.
Yeah.
Because they were just so cute. They really were.
Yes, yes. It almost reminds me of a book called The Magic School Bus. I don't know if
Uh-huh.
you've seen that one
Yeah.
out there, but it's similar to that. But this has a nice bent to it about healthy eating. And now, does the teacher get involved here too? Or
Well, only the fact that she explains to the children ahead of time what they're going to see when they go outside. And then, of course, all the teachers would accompany their classrooms out onto the field.
Oh, yes.
But
yeah.
they're not the main characters. The main characters are the two children and the farmer.
Okay. And his name is Farmer Brown?
Farmer Brown, that's a family name. When I was a little girl, my name was Catherine Brown.
Oh, great. Great. And he has a dog. He has a
Yes,
dog.
it's his little dog,
And his dog's name is Tater?
Tater.
Yeah, like the potato, or like
Uh-huh.
a tater tots.
Tater tots, yeah, exactly.
Neat, yes. And so he explains how the vegetables were grown
Mhm.
in the field. I
Mhm.
see that he's holding up, looks like broccoli or something.
Yep, I mean he brings samples of his seeds, and he brings samples of all his vegetables, and he explains to the children how important it is to have a certain amount of fruit and vegetable on their plate every day.
Yes.
And how the vegetables have vitamins in them, and it's healthy and helps you grow strong. It's just done in a really cute way, and the children sit on bales of hay, and I have the tractor in the thing, and they get to climb and play on the tractor, which
Yeah.
children love to do. So
Yeah.
the whole story is just fun, but also telling a tale about how important it is to eat the right things.
I noticed that also in the book you have pictures of food stands that have the different vegetables in
Correct.
them. So do they go up to each one of those stands?
Yep, that's the festival part. After they see the farmer, they get to go to each stand, they get to taste that particular vegetable, and I have the parents manning the stand, and the parents talk to the children about that vegetable and what vitamins are in that vegetable, and
yes.
why it's important for them to eat it.
Yes.
And also fruit. There's fruit in the book too.
Fruit in the book also,
Yeah.
yes. And now there's also some pictures in the kids are eating in the cafeteria at school.
Right, they're having the vegetable soup that I have in the back of this book.
Oh,
and
yes.
along with some apples for dessert. And it's just, a continuation of that. And then when they go home, they get to tell mom and dad about the fun day they had. And then mom tells them she's making, chicken with vegetables and potatoes. And they, they're all very excited about their meal. And they tell her about how good it is.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
great. And they can't wait, I hope, to help their mother maybe make another soup in the
Maybe
future.
another soup.
Yes, Kathy.
So there is a section in the book where the farmer invites the children to come to the farm and visit the farm and see it. And at the very end of the book, when the children are sitting at the table with their parents, they ask if they can go to the farm. And the father says, "It sounds like a fun day, maybe we will." And that then leads into a second book. I have a second book written.
Oh, great.
Actually, and I have ideas for about 6 books. So my goal is to make this one successful enough that I can do a second one, and then maybe one day a third, fourth, whatever.
Yes.
So I have a bunch of
series.
grandchildren whose names I have to get in these books.
Of course. That sounds super, yeah. So this one here is on healthy eating.
Right.
The other books are going to
They're
be...
all about healthy eating. It's each book will stand on its own, but it's a continuation story. So this book will talk about going to the farm. The next book would be about going to the farm. And then that book will end with something that would then lead into the next book.
Oh, okay.
However, if you read book 3 before book 1, it wouldn't be a problem because it'd be a story all of its own.
Okay, so there'd be a connection, but also
Right.
story standalone.
Exactly.
That sounds terrific. That's good. So, so you wrote the book. How long did it take you to write a book like this?
Well, I really always thought it would be fun to write a children's book,
Yes.
but I never really thought I would. I wasn't anybody special or important. I'm not a Ron Dahl or a Jan Brett or anything like that, and I'm just a regular person. And I would be working the school, and I'd see all this beautiful books come into the school for children to read. The
Yes.
literature for children today is so wonderful.
Yes.
And I'd have book envy, writer's envy, and say, I wish I could, but I had no idea. I didn't know what I would even write about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a couple of things happened. Somebody I personally knew had a children's book published, and I thought, maybe it wouldn't be so hard not that it wouldn't be hard, but maybe it's possible.
Sure.
So I gave that some thought, and then I went to a book signing with Julie Andrews and her daughter.
Oh, wow.
Julie Andrews and her daughter write the Very Fairy Princess books.
Oh, yes, yes.
And they collaborate, and I thought, wouldn't that be wonderful to collaborate with my daughter on a book?
Yeah.
And she is a teacher. She's a special education teacher. She
Neat.
teaches handicapped.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And my timing was impeccable. I went to her, and I believe it was in June, and her husband had just gotten a new job in North Carolina. She was in the process of packing up her entire house. It was the end of the school year, so at the end of the school year, teachers have a lot of work to do, getting reports in and cleaning out their classrooms and everything. And she was pregnant with her first child, and it was a high-risk pregnancy.
Oh, wow.
And Mom comes over and says, "Hey, Lauren, a.k.a. Shelly, want to write a book with me?" Well, needless to say, she didn't.
Oh.
She was so overwhelmed with everything she did.
Yeah.
But she was my inspiration.
Yes, yes.
Because Lauren has always been a very healthy eater.
Yes.
And when I can remember when she was in college, when most college kids, like my son, which I shouldn't say, was at Burger King every day, she was showing me books about these big corporations who were buying up all the farms and genetically modifying all our food.
Wow.
And saying, this isn't good, Mom, this is not a good thing, they haven't done enough testing on this. And she was a firm believer that a lot of the food that we eat is the reason some of these children have all these allergies and all these learning disabilities and things like that.
My God, yeah.
So she was my inspiration. So she always ate very healthy.
Yeah.
And so when I decided to write a book and I said I was going to make it about healthy eating, she said, "What's fun about that?" And I said, "I'll make it fun. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out."
Sure.
So I thought about it, and I decided to make the characters children because children will relate to other children, and I decided to put it in a school because that's where they're used to learning a lot of things.
Yeah.
But the book creates a teachable moment for parents.
Oh,
By reading
yes.
the book to the children, it gives them the opportunity to talk to them themselves about the importance of eating the healthy fruits and vegetables and about cooking with them. I cook with my grandchildren all the time.
Yes.
A few weeks ago, I took my granddaughters to the apple farm, and we picked apples.
Yes.
And then a couple of days later, we made applesauce. Grandma peeled the apples, Grandpa cored the apples, and Nina chopped the apples. And so we put them in the pot with a little honey. I don't use sugar. A little bit of honey and a little bit of cinnamon, and we made applesauce.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, and they loved it. I mean,
Yeah.
they just devoured it. So,
yeah.
and that's the part of the secret is keep them involved with the cooking, keep them involved with the healthy eating, and they'll become healthy eaters. I also believe, even if they say, "I don't want that," put a little on their plate. If they don't eat it, that's fine, but put it on their plate, because more often than not, if you don't pay attention, they'll taste it, they'll try it.
And they might even like it too.
Oh yeah, often they do. Like
Sure.
they'll just turn their nose up because of the color, or because of the way it looks, or because of the smell. But then once they taste it, they go, not so bad.
Not so bad. Yeah. Well, that sounds great. You're getting them involved, and it's nice to have a family involvement and activity like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super. Wow. Yeah. So you started the book like that. First of all, you contacted your daughter, but she was
she was a little overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed with her pregnancy and everything, so she wasn't that happy. But she gave you got a lot of ideas about healthy eating, and also about foods that were being grown with what do they call those?
GMOs.
GMOs.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why in the book, if you see the farmer has organic fertilizer, organic seeds.
Yes.
I suggest to people in general, if you can, buy organic.
Yes.
There was a time when it was outrageously more expensive. It's not anymore. It's still a little more expensive than your average food, but I just feel if you can afford to do that, it's worth the extra penny. Of course, the ideal thing would be to grow as much as you can in your own garden.
I actually have my own garden at the house, and I practice gardening every year, and it's sometimes it's a lot of tedious work, tilling the soil and weeding, etc., and keeping the vomits out of the garden. But eventually you get all the vegetables to grow pretty well. So we have pretty much exhausted our tomato crop this year right now, but now we have a few eggplant actually growing, but the peppers seem not to have done well this year. I'm not too sure why. We have a few peppers, but not that many. So, and then we give away a lot of our stuff to local neighbors, and they're always coming back for more. So that seems to
that's nice.
be,
It's a good thing. Yep, it's a good thing, and growing your own, it's a good exercise.
Yes.
It's a wonderful way to grow food, and you'll find that the food is tasty. I honestly don't eat as much fruit as I used to. I still eat, I love grapes and bananas and all those things, but the peaches, the plums, they just don't have the taste they used to have.
Yeah, I wonder why.
The organics are better, but still, they just, because they're modifying the food. The idea was to increase yield and to, make the food last longer.
Yes.
But they've taken out, I feel personally, a lot of the taste of the food, and
flavors,
a lot of the flavors aren't as good anymore. And I remember when I used to bite into a peach and it would drip down your arm. It would be so juicy and delicious.
Yes.
You can't find that anymore.
I know.
It's hard.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's very, very
so
tough.
I've come to, I eat a lot more berries. I eat a lot more grapes, because those are still delicious.
Yes, yeah. We tend to go to the farmers market.
Yep.
Every week they have it here in Wilmington, so we'll go there and we'll pick a few vegetables and fruits and other goodies that we can find.
Yeah, I sell my book at the farm stand in Tewksbury.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I go in there, every couple of weeks for an afternoon. I tell them I feel like the Walmart greeter. I stand at the door and say, "Do you know a child who'd like a book?"
Nice. So that sounds great. So now you wrote the book. You got inspired by your family and your daughter. She told you some interesting tidbits to put into the book. You made it about children that are sort of copies of your own children, and so you told a story about healthy eating. You visited the farm. What's your next project now? You said you wanted to tie all these books together.
I would like to, if I could do that one day.
Yeah. Sounds great. Have you been working on another book yet?
I have a second one written.
Oh, great.
I found the actual writing was easy, because what I do is I think about it.
Yes.
And I think about it, and I think about it. And so I form this story in my head. And then once I have the whole story in my head, I sit down and write it. So the actual writing of this book probably took me less than an hour.
Oh, now are you writing it handwritten?
I was, initially, yes. I was handwriting it on a steno pad.
Yeah, and you take notes and things like that.
No, I just wrote it. I just sat and wrote the whole thing, and then I went back and I edited it myself a few times, and I switched a few paragraphs, changed a few words, and then once I had that, then I put it on the computer.
Now, what about sketches or pictures? Did you put a little sketch over the side that would indicate something about who was talking at the particular time?
No.
Oh, so you just gave it to the artist later?
Yes. Well, part of the publisher's job was he had me break my story down into what he considered pages.
Okay.
So, and I had to do 16 to 18 pages.
Okay.
So I broke the book down, and then when they sent it off to the illustrator, I added with each section 1 or 2 sentences about, I'd like to see the children running from the bus to the school.
Okay.
And then the next one would be, I'd like to see the children sitting in the classroom with their teacher. And then I'd like to see them with the farmer out in the field. You know, so I explained what I wanted, and then she did all the drawings and sent them to me, and I made a few changes in them that, you know, because I liked this a little better than that or whatever. And basically, you know, it didn't take much to, because she got the gist of the story. She understood what I wanted, and she drew beautiful pictures, and like I said, they're very colorful and vibrant.
So did you add the dialogue here?
Yes. No. The publisher actually did that.
Okay.
Once he put the book down, once the drawings were done, he created space in the pages to put the words.
Okay.
So he did the layout.
Okay.
Yeah, he did all that, and he helped me find the illustrator. He sent me to a page on his website that had multiple illustrators and their work, and I picked the one that I thought looked the best, and she did, like I mentioned before, the sample drawings for me, and once I loved them, I said, go ahead, she can do the book. And then he also found the printer to print the book,
Mm-hmm.
and I just sat home and waited for it to come.
That sounds great. Now, was there any cost involved?
Yes, with the way this particular publisher works is I had to pay the illustrator, which of course, I mean, that's logical that you
Sure.
pay somebody for their work,
Mhm.
and I had to pay for the printing,
Okay.
which also made sense. But my husband and I looked into different printers and whatever, and they were much more expensive than what the publisher found for us.
Okay.
And this book, it's a hardcover book, it's a beautiful book, they did a great job of printing it, so I'm very pleased with the results. And then that was all my initial cost with the publisher, and then
Approximately how much did it cost you?
it was,
For the illustrator, for instance.
the illustrator was $1,500,
Okay.
which I felt was very reasonable considering the amount of
All-
pictures
all
that are
these
in the book.
pictures,
Yes,
wow,
and all
yes.
those pictures now belong to me.
Oh, great.
So I can
Great.
use them anywhere at any time
Yep.
in my work.
Yep.
And to print the books was about $3,000, but we printed a little over 1,000 copies.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So, I mean, that really
So
was.
it's not print on demand, it's you
No,
you made 1,000 copies
Yes.
all at once. Yeah.
Yes, that's how it worked. And the publisher has the copies. When I need them, I just call them up and say, send me so many cases of books, and they send them to me.
Neat.
And then I have them. Now, he has them on his website, mascotbooks.com.
Yes.
So if you wish to purchase one, you can go to the publisher's website. They're also on Amazon.
Okay.
So you can get it on Amazon.com, and you just put in Richie and Shelly at the Farm Festival, and the book comes up. And for your listeners, if they're really interested and would like a personalized copy, if they get in touch with me personally at either through the website, there's a contact page, or through my email, which is richieshelley@yahoo.com. No and, just richieshelley@yahoo.com, and tell me they'd like a book. I'll get in touch with them as to how to make payment and what they want in the book, and I'll personalize it with the child's name,
Oh,
and
nice.
I'll sign it.
Nice.
Yeah, so I will do that, and I'll ship it to them for nothing, you know,
Yes.
just for the price of the book. But if they just want the book, they can get it on Amazon. They can get it through Mascot Books.
That sounds terrific. So it's easy to do that through the two different sources. The
Absolutely.
Mascot,
And
the
Amazon occasionally puts it on sale. You know how they always put
Yeah.
their different things on sale. So
Yeah.
you might even just hit a sale one day.
It's one of these days, yeah. So wow, it is very colorful. It's a colorful book, and I think any young child would be
Yep.
interested in getting. A
Oh
book
yeah,
like this.
they love pointing out like the balloons and the different things, the dog, the tractor. I
Yeah.
mean, they see those things and they point them out. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
so
picture
even little
books.
ones
Yeah.
can appreciate it because it's such a colorful picture book.
Yeah.
You know.
That's terrific, and you can sit. The parent can sit with the child
Mhm.
and have the child point out the different pictures
Exactly.
and verbalize what they see, and then the parent can be telling the story at the same time.
Mhm.
So I remember reading books like this to my children, too, and that was a wonderful experience
Yep.
for both of us.
Oh, I love reading. Well, I read to my children, but I love reading to my grandchildren.
Yeah. Yes. Well, that sounds great. So we've covered quite a lot of things here. We talked about how you got inspired to write the book. We talked about how you had it published through mascotbooks.com, and also it's available on Amazon and also at the publisher. They can also contact you through your website, at richieandshelly.com, and on the website they can see things about you, about the book, and also there's a contact area where they can contact you specifically and ask for an autographed book or
Right.
something.
Or they can do that by email, just doing Richie Shelly, no and in that, just
Yes.
RichieShelly@yahoo.com.
That is, yeah, because I remember trying to send you an email and putting the "and" in there. And
Yeah, unfortunately, when I set up the email, that wasn't available to me,
Oh,
Richie
yes.
and Shelly. So.
Yeah. Now, is there anything else that you'd like to add before we close here?
Let's see. I don't know that. I just am excited about the book. I love going to different fairs and things and speaking to people. Even people who don't have young children just love the book. I get a lot of compliments on how it looks and
Terrific,
what a
yeah.
good idea that it is. I'm very thankful for my husband who supported me in this, because I never told him that I was writing a book.
Yeah.
I did it all and I sent it off, really not expecting any results.
Isn't that
I
wonderful?
wasn't very
Yeah.
positive about myself.
Yeah.
And when I got the phone call, I hung up and I went inside and I said, well,
Guess what?
that was a publisher and they want to publish a book I wrote. And he kind of looked at me and said, what?
What?
I said, well, I wrote a children's book and I sent it off and there's a publisher who wants to
Isn't that something? A
publish
surprise,
it.
surprise.
I said, but I was still very skeptical, not skeptical, I was like very leery of it. And I said, I don't know, there is a cost involved, we do have to make an investment in it. And he looked at me and he said, you know what? This is your legacy. This
Yeah.
is something your grandchildren will always have. You'll have a book with your name on it, and it will be a book that inspires them, hopefully, to eat healthy, and I think you should do it.
And that's nice to get the support of your husband to do that. And
He
that's-
is
yeah.
always been my biggest cheerleader
Yeah.
and my best support. I mean, there's so many things in my life that I've done because of him that I
Yes.
would not have done
Yeah.
otherwise,
Otherwise,
because
yeah.
he just encourages me so much.
Yeah. Well, that sounds terrific. I think that we've covered everything now,
Yeah.
and appreciate you coming in today and talking with us. I think we're going to come to a close. There's any last minute things that you'd like to
No,
add?
but I appreciate your having me today, and
Sounds great.
I hope that your listeners have some children in their life that they'd like to treat to a special book about eating healthy. And like I said, it's available on Amazon. It's available from the publisher, Mascot Books. Or if you want to get one that's special with their names in it and a signature, just email me and I'll be glad to work with you.
Thank you so much, Cathy, for coming in, and appreciate the conversation with you. This is like just talking with each other over a cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate it.
And we had a few glitches in the audio here at the studio. Hopefully I'll be able to edit some of that out. I'm sure I will. But anyway, we come to a close of the program. This is Mark's Musings, and we are at wctv.org, and we'll simultaneously broadcast on SoundCloud and on iTunes. And so with that, we'd like to say goodbye, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.